Let's see here. Somebody said, did I sleep with her? No, I did not sleep with her. I never slept with her. Our relationship was sexual in nature from day one. I've been acquainted with her 9 or 10 years or something like that. And it was like through Twitter, but I did not sleep with her. Why I did not sleep with her? Honestly, I'm not even going to say I was on some type of vibe like I feel like, oh, my values are this. I want to make sure I'm respecting vows. At that point, I wasn't even thinking much about the marriage. I was on some rebellion to God type stuff. I was on some screw it all type stuff. I didn't sleep with her or anybody for that matter because I'm not, I got to get deep. I'm not able to perform when I'm super stressed. I didn't even have confidence that I could do something in that capacity. That's why I hit her up instead of somebody that I had actually had sexual relations with. I hit her up because we've always been able to do that. Just keep in contact, just talk, just flirt, and keep it at that. So,
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Guys, we are talking to you about Derrick Jaxn. I know another video has just come out where he's admitted to having sex. And I did this video. I actually recorded another part of this video, and unfortunately it got corrupted. So this is the short end of this video. I'm going to record the long version of this video reaction to this particular video that he did because it's about 20 minutes long. But I'm going to give you the short version where I'm going to focus on one part of what he said. And then we're going to do a part 3 as well for you guys, right? So tune in for tomorrow. We'll get the extended version of this particular video we're doing right now. Now, let me just say this from the jump. When I watched this video and I recorded it, I think 3 times I got corrupted. I don't know what's going on. But when I recorded it, I said, I don't get what he's trying to say. In one part of this, he said, we had a sexual relationship, but I didn't have sex with her. And I was confused as to what do you mean you had sexual relationship, but didn't have sex with a girl? Like, what does that even mean, bruv? But that's what he said. And so I was confused when I watched this particular video. I said, something's not quite right. And then we come out to see this other video later on, which I'll review later on. And he's talking about how he slept with someone. Anyway, he doesn't say who. He just said he's had sex. So I was confused because in this video, he downright says he never slept with this girl, right? So either he's truthful and he didn't sleep with this girl, but slept with other girls, or he's lying here outright. And I don't like that, outright, about the whole entire thing. But let's review this video because I want to take it back to probably about the 20-minute mark and go from there. Because he's explaining certain things, and we'll kind of review it from there and then react to it at the same time. All right, let's go to it.
small, I guess, evidences, but since August, the beginning of August, I would say, not only my marital life, not only my internal peace, but even the impact that I'm having on people, not just in dating and relationships, but now in marriage, completely skyrocketed. So that's only a piece of my testimony. That is according to what I've preached in my books. That is according to what I've preached in my videos.
So just in case you guys don't know, in this particular video, he actually spoke about becoming a Christian. That he came to Christ. Listen, I've got no problems with that. I love those who are turning their lives to Christ. Crisis or no crisis, you've come to Christ. You understand? And I respect it. What I don't like is people using Christ as a way to get out of things, right? I'm not saying that's what he's actually doing. I'm just saying I don't like that. Now, in this particular video, I wish I could have done a longer version. You'll see it in a longer version. He speaks about this book and relating it to the video. And I was like, either you come to address the allegations or you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, either you've come to say, yes, you did it, or no, you didn't, or not. The fact that he kept on referencing the book throughout the course of this whole video was what kind of baffled me a little bit and took me off the fact that this was genuine and authentic in how you feel. I get it's your testimony. I get that, look, you've recovered and since then, but the things that have come out, they've come out not as a result of the fact that you and your wife have already healed. They've come out as it looks like to me that you and your wife are still going through the phase. So you haven't actually admitted it first. It's come out and you're having to admit it. That's completely different. And so in this actual video, he actually never comes out to say that he had sex with any girl, right? So, and I'm mentioning this so that when you watch part 3, when I do it, You understand why I'm a little bit, I'm mad confused and a little bit annoyed because I don't like people lying. You know what I'm saying?
I'm absolutely cool with being held accountable. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I have no problem saying what I did was wrong. But let me be very clear. In dealing with that girl, while I was separated, while I was actually separated, a couple of weeks before the divorce was filed, it wasn't wrong necessarily according to my old logic. Why was it wrong? It was wrong because I was in a covenant with God and I only was making a contingent based on my wife.
Now, here's the thing. I totally get him. So what he's saying here is that, look, in my old ways, in my own old thoughts, this wouldn't have been a wrong action. We were separated. I can do whatever I want, right? And I know the video that he released in December, I believe, last year, where he spoke about if you're separated, you shouldn't really be going out and doing stuff because you're still technically married, right? So that was after. So I get that, right? No shade on that. My thing is this, though. Wrong was wrong. So when you were separated at that point, you used the girl. Like you had no intention of trying to be in a relationship with the girl. You were out here having sex, and that's okay. And listen, I've got no beef with that. But the girl didn't know that. She thought it was going to be something more. This is why she's outing you. She's not outing you because you had sex and it was cool. She's outing you because you used her. The moment you left, the moment that you quit the relationship and there was a lack of communication, that person felt used. So wrong being wrong about, no, yes, you're right. Like in your old ways it would have been, it's different. But even in your new ways, you have to think of it like this. Even in your old ways, you have to think of it, before you came to Christ, the fact that you had sex and cut her off like that so quickly without much of an explanation apart from when I'm finished divorce, it's still wrong. It's still going to hurt someone's feelings. It's still going to leave the person raw. Do you understand? So you don't need Christ to get to that point of understanding of how you use somebody. You don't need Jesus for that moral compass.
I was only making a contingent based on what she said. Well, we're not dealing with each other. Well, she's not meeting my needs. And in that, I think anybody is kind of setting themselves up to fail. Even if the divorce goes through, I had to get to a place where no matter what, I'm honoring my commitment to God first, my wife second, the marriage second. And that's with the marriage completely gone, her all but guaranteeing that she was out the door. So that is the gist of it. Like I said, guys, if you look in the comments, you're going to see the bloodthirsties. They really don't care. But the whole Derrick got caught cheating in his wife's bed is BS.
Okay, so he's quite clearly said here, Derrick get caught in the bed cheating with his wife is clear BS. Now, I don't know the girl didn't make a claim that they got caught in bed. The girl made a claim that you guys had sex. So I don't remember any claim of the woman making a claim that when I was in bed, I got caught. No, she never made that claim. That's the reason why nobody knew until she came forward. What her allegations were that you guys had sex. Okay? There was no allegation. I can't remember anyway. If there is, somebody comment down below in the comment section that was speaking about sex in the bed and got caught in the bed. There was none of that. It was all to do with the fact that you guys were having sex in that yard. And the fact is, he hasn't addressed that issue. He's addressed the fact that the allegation of not having sex in the bed is rubbish. So it's almost like a deflection technique. Tell us something that is true, but not address the whole of the rest of the truth. So you give us a bit of the pie and tell us this is not true, and you're not lying because you're generally being honest. You didn't have sex in the bed, or you didn't get caught in the bed. That's the truth. You never did get caught in the bed. But what about the rest of it? Did you have sex? Did you have sex? That's the other part of it, which was not being addressed just yet. So for me, I'm looking at it's looking a little bit manipulative right now, Derrick. Yeah, listen, I like you, Derrick. I like you, brother. You understand? I like the things that you do. You understand? But listen, right now, it's not looking good. It's looking a bit ominous at the moment because again, you're addressing something in a certain type of way. I need you to address the allegation, not this thing about in the bed. Did you or did you not have sex? That's the key part. You understand?
Complete BS. I'll own up to anything that I did, and I deserve to be held accountable for.
But we haven't heard you own up to anything just yet. So remember, this is last night. We haven't heard anything from you being owned up yet. You're addressing something, but you've not owned up to it just yet. Now, your wife was meant to come into this particular video. She didn't, so I think you guys did another video later on, but she didn't come into this video. And so, unfortunately, it looks like you're selling the story short. and not actually owning it. So although you're saying to me that you're ready to own your actions, I'm not seeing that. I'm not trying to boss him. I'm not trying to bang him out. I'm trying to really just get to the crux of the fact that he's not being fully honest. He's not being fully honest. He's telling a half truth and then trying to almost at the same time selling your book to me. That looks disingenuous. That looks unauthentic, and that looks like bollocks.
Anything that I did, if I was living a double life, it was trying to encourage people when I was discouraged. It was trying to help people build healthy relationships with my relationship.
No, come on, Derrick. Come on, Derrick. Come on, Derrick. You know that's what I'm saying? Look, you know me. I hold girls and guys accountable. Listen, if anything, if the double life, if I was living a double life, I get the fact that you weren't necessarily making a habit of trying to cheat on your wife. So maybe you might not look at it as a double life. The double life in regards to the fact that you've had one or two women, maybe 3 or 4 women, and had relationships with them, whether it was inappropriate relations, whether it was flirting, texting, whether it was having conversations at inappropriate times, whether it was actual sex to sexual flirtation, whatever you had, it was more than one person. Therefore, yes, in a sense, you were kind of leading a double life in that sense. That's what we mean by double life. Now, for you to flip it onto, if you're saying about leading a double life in terms of me encouraging you when I wasn't encouraged, brother, you know that's not what we're saying. Now, you know that's not what we're saying. Again, he's deflecting. Again, he's deflecting the actual truth of the issue. That's not what we were addressing. You are being very smart with it right now. I'm not trying to kill the brother. I'm just trying to be very real. Ladies, listen to what he's saying and look at the actions. He's actually not telling us the full truth.
Relationship was dismantled, disheveled. I absolutely did that. So at some point, I guess we'll get a fix for that. But let's go ahead and go to the comments. Okay. Let's see. They're kind of moving fast. I don't know if I could definitely go about saying, hey.
Let me just go back because he said something. It was long here. So
I don't know if you guys can even hear me. Let's see here. Somebody said, why did I ghost old girl? Good question.
Good question.
So I texted her, what we're doing ain't right. What we're doing ain't right. We don't need to talk again until this divorce is final, right?
I don't know if you notice that he does a little look upwardly before he answers this question. Now, sometimes people look up because they're trying to think and trying to get the answer for her. But oftentimes when people are not telling the full truth and they're trying to be very careful what they say, they have to have a moment or second to think. So they look upwards. Not necessarily a lie, but when they're going to add to a story which is not necessarily ingrained all the way through in truth. Because when you're speaking what's your truth, you often just look straight dead on. You might look to the side, to the left, or whatever, because it's hard to look at someone straight on. But when you look up, oftentimes that's a momentary pause to gather your thoughts, to gather it from here and bring it down to here and speak it out. So when he said obviously what he's going to say, just pay attention.
So for me, my own logic, I could definitely go about saying, hey, just so we're in the right path of things, just so your feelings aren't hurt, I want to let you down easy. I want to do this, that, and the other. But that's not biblical. That's not biblical. That's according to my own sense. That's according to my own logic. Now,
here's the thing. I don't know if the pastor's telling him this or somebody who is a pastor telling him this, but he's not getting that from the Bible, bruv. There is no instructions on terms of what you do with that other person. Even Abraham had to. I know Abraham had to let Hagar go, yeah, and send her off to the side, right? But that is not a good indication of how to behave. Don't get Abraham and yourself twisted. Abraham, okay, was used by God, but that was not what God's focus was on. God's focus was on the fact that he is a patriarch, he is a prophet that had to be part of the lineage of Christ coming out. Don't confuse Hosea in the Bible as you being Hosea, because that's about Israel, about being in a relationship with God. Don't get these prophets mixed up with you. You are not them. You are to be like Christ. Now, let me be very frank with you. There's nothing biblical telling us not to talk to this girl. I think he could have had a conversation with her and said, hey, look, can I be honest with you? Right now my ex is coming back into my life, and I'm so sorry. I know it feels like I've kind of used you, etc., but that's not what I was thinking. That's not what I was on. But now she's come back into my life and we're kind of working things out. I want to go back. Now it's not a simple conversation. It's a very difficult one, but the truth of the matter is we don't want to have that conversation simply because we feel we couldn't handle that if we were told that. Men oftentimes do this, and not just men, but women do it too. But I'm saying men because we're talking about a man here. Men find it hard to have difficult conversations with women because it's not about the woman. It's about you and I couldn't handle that conversation if it was us on the other end. So we then shun the conversation and call it something else. No, it's not. It's biblically biblically that wouldn't be the truth. Well, who's what? Where in the Bible? Show me there in the Bible it says cut off your ex side chick. Cut off where it tells me. Tell me that. Tell me something similar that's happened in the Bible in terms of your side chick and you cutting them off, right? Within a context. Give me something like that. There is nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? So we use wisdom. So it's not necessarily just biblical. We use wisdom, right? And use the Spirit of God to determine how we should behave in a situation, right? Now, that little text he sent, obviously, look, I'll wait till everything's divorced and finished. I understand that. All girls should understand that. But she feels used because there was a sexual interaction involved. And so that's why she feels used. And I don't agree with everything she did, this girl, because she definitely tried to tear you down simply because she felt hurt rather than it being about the truth. But yeah, it is what it is, they say.
If I had it my way, what I would do is instead of letting her down easy or not ghosting her or anything like that, I just wouldn't have texted her to begin with. I just wouldn't have reconnected to begin with.
Now, here's the thing. When he says, look, listen to what he said very, very carefully. He said, if I had my way, it wasn't about letting her down gently. It wasn't about, having a conversation, whatever. I would have not connected with her entirely. That's two different thoughts. Not connecting with her entirely, okay, is got nothing to do with the fact that you've already done the deed and you need to address the point of now what you're going to do once you realize you're going back to your ex. That's nothing to do with the point. Because that's something that you did do. You went to this girl. So you can't say, if it was up to me, I would have never texted in the first place. If it was up to you, it was up to you in the first place. So unless I'm misinterpreting what he's actually meant to be saying, what he may be trying to say is, I wouldn't have texted her saying, I'm going to go back to my ex, and I would have cut her off in general. But make it clear then. And I don't think he's bad at communicating. So I think he meant what he said, which is that, I wish I'd never started it in the first place. But he didn't actually address the first issue, which was, why didn't you let her down gently? Why didn't you have a conversation with her? Why didn't you speak to her rather than just ghosting her?
So I'm fine with being wrong for that.
And that speaks more to about accountability and how we address issues. Again, we've all been in places where we've not been honest and not been truthful with a person, where we've played the person. Let's keep it real. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of us have. And so he's exhibiting those behaviors. When you don't want to own up fully to your behavior, which includes how you treat people, then you make excuses for them. Right now, he's making excuses. Brother, why did you not be truthful enough and say to her, okay, cool. Reason was because I didn't want to tell her. I didn't want to have a conversation. I didn't want to be painful. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want to feel like I was going to hurt her feelings. I didn't want to be the bad guy, because that's what most men and women are scared of. They're scared of their name being tarnished and their reputation being tarnished and them looking like the bad guy. People don't want to look like the bad guy. So whenever they look like the bad guy, they avoid scenarios which can make them look like the bad guy. Ghosting. You ghosted because you don't have an honest conversation in most cases, except obviously your safety is in question.
Let's see here. But I'm a big proponent of, especially since I came in full submission, that you cannot save everybody else's feelings, especially when it's at the cost of somebody who matters most. You can't go sparing everybody else's feelings. You can't go giving 2 weeks notices.
He didn't need to give a 2 weeks notice. What he needed to do was have a conversation with a girl. Again, see, this is what I'm trying to say. Again, it's not about sparing people's feelings. It's about being truthful and being honest. And there's a difference between honesty and transparency. Transparency is reactive. Honesty is proactive. Proactive means I go out and I tell you, hey, I'm sorry for the way I treated you. Transparency is you come to me and you're annoyed and then I apologize to you. It's reactive, not proactive. And let me be very frank with you. A situation happened to me where a girl stepped out on your old boy around here, okay? Now, when she did and she came back, I said to her, listen, have you finished with the guy? Oh, you haven't really finished. All right, go and speak to him. Go and speak to him. Go and finish off what you haven't finished off. Go and speak to him. Whatever you want to ask him, go and ask him. Whatever you want to talk about, go and talk to him about. Because it's not going to be me you're coming back to and you're half-heartedly coming back. I don't want you to be in that space. I want you to be fully here and present, or don't be here at all. Do you understand? So I'm not about to let you cut it cold. No. Go and finish what you need to finish off. Because originally in my situation, I said cut it off. And then I was like, bruv, if this person's not going to be fully for me, they need to go and have this conversation. And if they dump me and if they leave me alone or they don't want to be with me, it is what it is. It is what it is. I have to let them go. Do you understand? So in the end, the person went and had a conversation and they came back. But it's up to you to decide and say, hey, look, I'm not scared to let you have that conversation, because at the end of the day, I know you need to let that person down. And if you've really made up your mind to go God's way for the rest of my life, I made up my mind to go God's way for the rest of my life. Okay, so if you've made up your mind to go this way and say, actually, I want to be with my ex, there's nothing that this new girl's going to say to you that's going to make you feel away. You're just going to let her down gently and let her know, hey, look, my situation has changed. I'm now with my ex and I love her and I care for her. I'm so sorry, da-da-da-da-da. That's it. It's not about sparing feelings. It's about being honest and truthful and being a man. Do you understand?
I gave a message to basically say, and I didn't basically say it, to say, I'm not going to talk to you until this divorce is final. And I cut it right then. After that, I just have to accept what comes with it. Let's see here.
And just add as well, when someone cuts someone off like that cold, yeah, oftentimes it speaks more volumes about our behavior, because had that person really been important to your friend, that's why I say this word friend is overused. Knowing each other 10 years on Twitter and calling a person a friend, when you spend 10 years with somebody and you can cut them off like that, when it comes to a situation, that speaks more to how you prioritize and how you see that person. You're seeing that person as a threat, and not a friend anymore. So now you can't have that conversation because they're no longer a friend. They've gone into threat mode. And in a threat, you eliminate threats. You don't spend time nurturing a threat. You kill it. And that's what he did. Right? That's what he did. That's the old girl. Sorry, the new girl was just a threat.
So why? Let's see here. Somebody said, did I sleep with her? No, I did not sleep with her. I never slept with her. Our relationship was sexual in nature from day one. I've been acquainted with her 9 or 10 years.
Now, can you tell me what sexual in nature means, but not sex? Can you tell me what that means? Can you tell me what sexual in nature is, or sexual in the nature of your relationship, to what sex is? Because let me be very frank with you. If you were flirting, you were flirting. Okay, I just moved my camera back. Sorry. If you were flirting, you were flirting. Okay? And if you were having jokes and banter that was going beyond what it needed to go to, you were having that. Then let me know it's flirts and banter. But if you were having more than flirts and banter, and there was more than flirty banter, because even banter can, flirting can even include you saying, what drawers you got on. Listen, but were you having sexual relations with that woman? Were you oral? Were you, intercourse? Was there hand, fingering? Was there hand jobs? Was there what? Because bro, what you're doing is you're leaving an open gap of grey for there to be a whole lot of speculation. And it also means as well, you're not being genuinely honest about what you did. If you came and said, listen, bro, I'm going to be honest with you. Yep, we had talked on the phone. It was sexual in nature, the way we used to speak to each other. We were flirting back and forth, rah, rah, rah. And that's all it went to. Then we know the case is closed. But you're saying, no, I never had sexual relation with that woman, but there was sexual in nature. What does that even mean? What does it mean, sir? What does that mean? Bro, what does that mean? You've come to clarify and you've made more grays, bro.
Years or something like that. And it was like through Twitter. But I did not sleep with her. Why I did not sleep with her? Honestly, I'm not even going to say I was on some type of vibe
Now, when you hear this, okay, so sometimes when guys are making, people making a reason as to, I couldn't have slept with her because, my leg was hurting, so it wouldn't have never been the case. I would have never done it. It's never, that excuse always is trash normally. It's rubbish. You know what I'm saying? When they have to tell you, oh, the reason why I couldn't have slept with her is because of this or that, bro, that's never gonna convince anybody.
I feel like, oh, my values are this. I want to make sure I'm respecting vows. At that point, I wasn't even thinking much about the marriage. I was on some rebellion to God type stuff. I was on some screw it up.
No, he weren't. He wasn't rebelling to God solely. Listen, sometimes just take accountability. He wasn't rebelling against God. Just rebelling. You was doing what you felt like you wanted to do. I'm not saying that wasn't a big play in some of your reasons as to what you're doing. I'm saying to you, you've been doing this before the rebellion to God. I accept that there is rebellion to God. I accept it, right? Like Joseph in the Bible said, I can't do this sin against Potiphar, but I can't do this sin because it's against God. I get it, right? But the truth of the nature is that sometimes we do things not necessarily as a rebellion to God because we like it. We have a desire for it. And the desires are within ourselves, not in God, because everything perfect comes from God. No, the desire is in you. This is James 1 in the Bible. Go read it. It talks about desire is in you, and it gives birth and conceives and brings death because it's you. And when I say you, it is the sin that's in you, in a sense, right? This is the flesh, the old man. I can't even say old man because the old man's gone away, but it's this body, right? It contains, it remembers the old ways, in a sense. Yeah, it remembers the old ways, and so the old ways, the desire is in you. No, it's not you, it's sin that's in you. This body. But your spirit's ready to go, man. That's why the flesh is weak. The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing.
All type stuff. I didn't sleep with her or anybody for that matter because I'm not.
Listen to what he just said. Now, this is why I said he's a liar. He just said, I didn't sleep with anybody or that matter of, or what we said, I didn't sleep with anybody. Let's listen to it again one more time. Yeah, he said that, right? Okay, cool.
At that point, I wasn't even thinking much about the marriage. I was on some rebellion to God type stuff. I was on some screw it all type stuff. I didn't sleep with her or anybody for that matter because I got to get deep. I'm not able to perform when I'm super stressed.
Now, remember he said he hasn't slept with anybody for that matter. But in part 3, we're going to play the video. In part 3, we're going to do the video. He has said here that he hasn't slept with anybody. That's why I said I don't like liars. That's why I said I didn't like. The story was not cohesive. His body language was off because he was moving way too much as he usually does. Just, the looking up.
I didn't even have confidence that I could do something in that capacity.
And that's why I said when people make excuses like this, where they say, "Oh, I couldn't do it because if it was like, imagine like, I'm the kind of person that gets shook at those things. I could never do that." Whenever I hear that kind of excuse, I already know you've done something, because it's like you're trying to rationalize a logical reason as to why it could never be you. But I'm not trying to rationalize that. You could be you. It could be you. It could be you.
That's why I hit her up instead of somebody that I had actually had sexual relations with. I hit her up because we've always been able to do that. Just keep in contact, just talk, just flirt, and keep it at that. So let's see here. Let me go over to Facebook.
Let's forward it a little bit. It takes too long when he does this.
Let's see here. Let me go over to Facebook. Innocent. She's not innocent. But I'm not a big fan of blaming people for possibly having ill intentions or whatever, whenever you're the person who put them in position, when you're the person who opened the door to them. There's a million people out there who may have bad intentions. Hers being bad, I can't necessarily say they're good if she's taking pictures, with my back, but that's beside the point. At the end of the day, each one of us, especially if you're in a committed relationship, if you're separated during a marriage, you're the common denominator. You're the gatekeeper. So let me be very clear. Derrick is not a victim. Derrick wasn't tricked. Whether preyed on or not, Derrick wasn't basically, forced into anything. That's not what happened here. Derrick was in a place of screw this, it's over as far as the marriage, but screw this in terms of doing things God's way. And that's where Derrick was acting from. Derrick's no victim. Let me be very, very clear about that. Somebody said, why do you feel the need to explain yourself? Well, let me be very clear. It's not so much explaining myself. What I'm trying to do is let everybody know, one, not only why I wrote this book.
Do you see what I'm saying about inauthenticness? Why I wrote this, what the book, what's it got to do with the thing? Be honest and come and tell me what your story is, or don't tell me at all. But why are you coming to tell me about the book, bro? He's honestly trying to say, it feels a bit like you're trying to sell me the book.
But hopefully letting you know that you cannot rely on your own feelings, your own intellect, your own way of doing things if you're trying to be successful with anything God is involved in. So a marital covenant, you can't go into a marital covenant, and this is my experience, this is my testimony. You can't go into a marital covenant thinking you're going to do it strictly off emotion, off your intellect. That's even if you're somebody that has all the intellect in the world. At some point, you're going to fall. It's faulty ground to stand on, thinking you can do this all by yourself. You definitely can't do it based on your heart. The Bible talks about the heart being deceptive for a reason. You can't do it based on emotions. You can't do it based on your perception. So if you read this book, for anybody who's already read it, you can vouch for it in the comments. The whole book talks about how you have to come under the submission of God. You have to do things God's way. You can't half do it, kind of do it, sort of do it, in your own time do it. You have to do things the kingdom way. Let's see here.
I think he's done. Listen, I really appreciate the fact that he's kingdom minded. He's about Jesus now.
Might just do a live chat on Instagram or follow up on Twitter. If y'all want that, let me know. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Y'all be good.
Now, I'm all for him being a Christian and coming to Christ Jesus and everything like that. I rate it. I love it. I appreciate it. But I just want to be very, very clear, that it doesn't excuse the bad behavior. It doesn't excuse you not being accountable and telling the absolute truth on the situation. I get, we all run. We all do Jonah. We all move mad. We all do David. We kill and we lie and we steal and we murder. Listen, we all can do that. Maybe not murder, but we all can do something a bit crazy. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that obviously in this video, he said quite clearly, no sex happened with any girl. And I'm like, no girl at all. But yet in the next video we're going to watch, in the next part 3, if you want to watch it, something actually happens. So it's like, and this video got deleted as well. So, man. Anyway, let me leave it there. I'll do part 3. Check into that as well. In about half an hour, we'll have it up as well. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded, man. Stay hydrated, baby. Stay hydrated.